Hello, and welcome to another episode of the M42 Adventures podcast. Again, I'm your host, Rick Trimmer. If you're watching this on YouTube, I apologize. I am soaking wet. Just got done at the gym, which I do not enjoy, but when I am there, I do get to work. So I am a little sweaty, but I'm excited for this one. This is a Ask Me Anything. I do have some questions for this one, but I wanted to... This one I've been wanting to do for a little bit now. We're a week late. We try to do our Ask Me Anythings at the first of the month. We got busy. Life happens. And so this is coming the second week of the month. So again, bear with us on that. But this one is going to be about M42 Adventures and the Genesis. I get a lot of questions. You know, people don't understand it. I was actually up in Salt Lake a couple weeks ago, and my brother-in-law, who follows me and on Instagram and social media, we were talking at a barbecue, and he was just kind of like, hey, you know, what's going on? What's happening? And I told him what we were doing inside the Genesis and M42. And he's like, man, no offense, you know, hopefully you can, take this constructive criticism, but I had no idea you were doing all of that. I had no idea that this is what it was. And he actually signed up to be a mentor, after that conversation. And so I feel like I'm not real good at social media. As most of you know, I come from a construction background. This isn't my world. I'm not an influencer. I'm not I'm learning to be, but we are working on our social media and our story and our message and things like that. But that being said, I wanted to take this time to kind of explain it so that, you know, people who don't know can listen to this, and then also people who are asking about it, I can send them this episode and it will really hopefully give them a better idea. Again, this has been one of those things where it's changed. You know, we're a year old. We're actually a year old in about 3 weeks.
Oh.
Yeah, so new. Chase, I was going to ask you to do something real quick too while I'm thinking about it. Will you get those, the mission statements for the two while I'm just continuing here? So we're about a year old. I just wrote our mission statement a week ago. And it wasn't because, you know, whenever I start a business, and this is my 13th business that I've been involved in or started, you know, in the beginning, you're trying to get, you know, the logo and the domains and the website built and the studio built and the equipment. And I knew that was going to be a lot of it. And so for 6 or 7 months, it was just turning on the lights and turning on the camera and all those different things. And so I have told everybody, you know, most of the companies that I have started are not what they were when I started them initially. And so I wanted to give this one a little bit of time, kind of work through it, get my, you know, this was an idea that I had, and I wanted to kind of work through it. So took me 10 or 11 months to actually write the mission statement. And again, these will adapt and change even from this, but this gives people a pretty good idea. So the way this came about was 8 years ago, sold my majority of my businesses, quote unquote retired, right? I worked for the last 8 years. I've worked about 4 or 5 hours a month is my average. I actually read a book called The 4-Hour Workweek and changed my life. And I was able to condense that to the 4-hour month, which has been great. So I've been traveling the world with my wife and kids. Those of you who don't know me, you can go back to the other podcasts and listen to that and our story. Lost everything in the recession, built it back, quote unquote retired, been traveling 70 plus countries now. We actually leave this will come out Friday. I'm recording it on a Tuesday. Is it Tuesday?
Yeah.
So it'll come out on Fridays, and then we're leaving on Sunday for another year or two. You know, I hope for 2 years, but you never know. So, that's our ambition. So we are still traveling. We are still, living that lifestyle. Just had a new baby. It was funny. I was actually sitting in the gym, in the sauna with a guy, a few days ago, and I says, yeah, I've been traveling, you know, we got talking, and he was asking what I do. And, you know, it always starts off, that way. And then I says, I've actually been traveling for the last 8 years. And he says, oh, I have kids. I can't do that. And I says, well, I have 4 and one's 7 weeks old, you know? So, and he says, whoa, really? How do you do it? And I told him, you know, I gave him some ideas and stuff like that, but, you can do anything you want to do. It's different. You have to prepare, plan, you know, save money. It's different. You know, I'm going to travel with strollers and car seats, and now I've got to get like a minivan or an SUV, things like that. So, but anyway, so that's the history of me and kind of where I came from. And then, you know, from being financially stable and traveling the world, it has brought such a joy to my life. I can't even explain it. I really can't. It is, you know, I lost everything in the recession in '08. It actually took me a couple years later, like 10 and 11 is when I lost everything, homeless, and was able to, you know, so I know what it's like to be absolutely broke and where you cannot feed your family. And to now be in a position where I haven't thought about money as far as clothing, food, shelter in almost a decade. Yeah. It doesn't even cross my mind, you know, which is such a peaceful feeling. And then also to travel, go see the world, taste new food, meet new people. It has brought so much joy to my life that I want to share it naturally. And that's where M42 came about. I thought, man, how cool would it be I think the world needs this. I think that it is making the world a better place, and it will continue to make the world a better place as they get outside, they learn new skills to make them happy, skills to make them, you know, give them meaning or purpose or joy, but also skills that can protect you or save your life or, you know, things like that. So that's where, again, it started. So I talked to my partner, buddy, Ryan Mickler, and said, hey, I got this idea. He said, I'm in, let's start it. So we started it. And that's when M42 came about. And I want to read this. This is what I wrote. So this is M42 Adventures, quote unquote, mission statement. M42 Adventures is a movement to get people outside, learning new skills, hobbies, and disciplines that will enrich their lives through adventure, exercise, friendships, and education. It was started to try and make this world a better place. Through the 4 pillars on which we build: fitness, family, relationships, finances, and faith, mental health, and spirituality. We forge people into a position and mindset to want to say yes and not to be a spectator in this life. Our founders' lives have been drastically changed by this philosophy. Adventure and relationships are what the human soul craves and needs. M42 is here to facilitate that all over this beautiful world. Will you join us? So first came M42 Adventures, and that was the concept. I wanted to have a community, a platform, a company that was going to get people to do things outside, not just travel, but golf, firearms, ride a motorcycle, surf, go hiking, you know, anything that gets you outside, I think is healthy, off the screens and with the people you love, camping, you know, just pitching a tent, whatever it is. So that came along. And then I knew that I wanted to have an online community because the world's huge and we're all busy and it's, you know, it's hard to get together all the time. And so, Ryan had an online community as well. And so I says, hey, we should have an online community with this. I actually didn't want to have a podcast.
I was going to ask you about that. I was like, how did that even happen?
Yeah, I didn't want to have a podcast. I am quite private. When I traveled, the guy in the sauna, again, the guy that I was talking to, his name's Tyson. He says, you know, so you're an influencer, how did you travel the world and work? And I says, I didn't. You know, my accounts were private for 8 years. You know, I got to like 1,000 followers, just family and friends. You know, I didn't do it to show off, or it was just for me. And I actually didn't want to have to post, or I wanted to be present.
Yeah.
My wife actually got a stroller in the very beginning. She's like, hey, this company gave me a stroller to take a picture of. And I took a couple pictures, and it was a horrible stroller. It wouldn't go through the cobble streets of like France. And I'm like, this is a crappy stroller. Like, what are we doing? You know, send it back. And we did, and gave their money back. And I says, we're not going to do this. We have the money, we have the means. Let's just enjoy this. So I didn't want to do a podcast. Ryan was like, dude, you have to let people know who you are. If you want to be in this world, you've got to lead out in front. And so I'm like, well, I'm willing to do that. So I've kind of opened my life up and been more of an open book. And it's not easy, you know, it's not comfortable. It's not for me. it's been hard because it's a lot of times you feel like you're bragging.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to brag. I'm just trying to say, hey, this is what I've done. And if you like that, come do it with me, or let's help you get there. If you don't, good for you. I have a lot of people like the guy in the sauna again, Tyson. He's like, I love working.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to travel full time. I'm like, that's great.
It's a relative work. It's just a different kind of work.
Yeah, 100%. And it's like, if you love your job, then that's
great. You don't work a day in your life.
100%.
Yeah.
So it was a necessary evil of, I got to put myself out there. I made my accounts public, started talking about myself and talking to other people. And here we are, we're on that road. And so then came the Genesis, and the Genesis started as, I don't know, like 25 or 26 different outdoor activities. And it was going to be a way for people to come in and learn about them, including myself. And the way this community is, I think, a little bit more, not more unique, but unique, is this community is not built around Rick. It's not built about Ryan. It's not built around an individual. This community, I always wanted it to be, have mentors. So I can start this community and I can be like, hey, let's go learn about golf together, and I'll try to teach you about golf. And I know I can do that. But my thought was, I'm going to get a golf mentor for my golf channel, and that person can come in and teach about golf. So it started out as like 26, 27 outdoor activities, horse riding. I mean, you gave me a list over here, actually.
Yeah.
Equestrian, fishing, golf, kayaking, mountain climbing, rafting, running, scuba diving. So that was where it came into play. And then as we started talking to people, we were saying, hey, come out and let's go surfing. Yeah. Come out, let's go to Africa. Let's go. And they were like, I'm broke. Or I just got divorced and my relationships are a mess, or my kids aren't, we're not getting along. They don't want to come camping with me, or I'm out of shape and I can't hike, or I can't surf, or I'm not in a good mental state. I'm depressed.
There's a lot to unpack, when adventure.
Yeah. And so then it was like, oh, light bulb, my dad used to always tell me this when I was even younger, 20, 30 years ago. He used to say, there's 4 areas in life, and if any of those 4, he called them pillars, and that's why I call them the 4 pillars. If any of those pillars aren't strong, your house is leaning or crumbling or falling. And so he says you need to try to always make sure those 4 are in balance. And he always using the analogy, like if you work too much, then you're sacrificing family, or if you're with your family too much, you're sacrificing work. I have like friends who have been at the gym too much.
Yeah.
Or people who haven't been to the gym at all, and they're, depressed. And so it came from that. And I was like, oh yeah, we need to definitely have these in there. And so I said, okay, let's put in the 4 pillars. And so that's basically what it is. If you come inside the Genesis, it's an online community. I'm going to read this. So this is the Genesis mission statement. The Genesis is the online community and brother to M42 Adventures. Our community is global, and the Genesis bridges those gaps in space to allow our members to converse daily online. It gives us a safe place to teach and to learn, to be vulnerable and to lead, to become someone better, to make friendships that will last a lifetime. It's where our chosen, qualified mentors can educate daily, weekly, monthly to all, where they can guide us through the disciplines they have come to love and want to share. If M42 Adventures is the body, the Genesis is its soul. So join us, wade into the water, and expand your knowledge and circle. You will not regret it. So that's where the Genesis came into play. It was like, okay, we need this place where people can talk daily, chat, ask questions, learn. And then M42 is where we take you out on the adventure. And so that's how this came about. That's what it is. So inside the Genesis, we have, I don't know what, Chace, 25?
I think it's 26, but yeah.
We have 26 channels, including the 4 pillars. And the thing with this, so then these channels are, you can come in, it's free. And everybody asks, I'll get into that later, but what's the catch on it being free? There is no catch. We don't take a credit card. So basically, what we did was I came in and I said, okay, I want to have these channels if you come into M42 Adventures or into the Genesis, we have channels, it's online, and each channel is, look at it like a classroom, right? So each classroom is a channel. So equestrian, fishing is a channel, golf is a channel, firearms is a channel. And then we went out, and we are still going out, and we found mentors who can teach us about those disciplines. Mm-hmm. And I want to be very clear. This isn't like my buddy who golfs on the weekends. I have a good friend who golfs 4 or 5 times a week, has for 20 years. He probably could honestly teach it, but he's not a golf pro. He hasn't competed professionally. That's the guy I'm looking for, or the gal, the girl that I'm looking for. So these are all people who are professionals in their discipline. All right, guys, let's step away from this conversation real quick and talk about a few things we have going on with M42 Adventures. First off, it's the new year. Everybody's got big goals, big plans. And one way that I think helps people to achieve those goals is through mentors and accountability. So we have our online community called the Genesis, and we just announced a few weeks ago that it is going to be free for at least the first 6 months of 2025. So if you're interested in coming in, joining these like-minded people, we have just under 100 people in there now. We have 7 mentors teaching everything from finance, self-help, spirituality, self-defense. There's just so many in there. Firearms, all these
relationships.
Relationships. Yep, all these different things. So if you're interested in that, go to m42adventures.com and sign up. Again, it is free. You don't have to enter your credit card. There's no strings attached. Check it out. Second, we have a big giveaway that we're going to be launching here in the next week or two. You do have to be a member of the Genesis to win that. Again, no purchase necessary, but that's going to be amazing. We're going to get that up pretty quick here. So keep following us. Continue to pay attention to that. And then we also have our expenses for this year. We have sold out most of them. We have Africa, some spots left for South Africa still, and we have some spots left for Hawaii. So if you're interested in either one of those, again, get inside the Genesis. That's where all things are happening. I can't tell you enough about it. Get in there, sign up, and then we can talk personally. So that's it. Let's get back to this conversation. Yeah, it's all good, man. Show it in there. That's the thing is, I honestly think we should leave that kind of stuff in, and do leave this in there when you're editing this, Chace. We just had the board. It started going staticky. Chace moved some things around, and I lost my audio. That's life, right? That's pretty much, we all clean it up. We make it perfect. And you still working on it? You okay? Just my audio. Okay. So, people think that everything goes perfect, everything goes as planned. It does not. I assure you, in my life, in everybody's life, everybody that I've ever met, you're going to run into trials and problems, and this is real. So we're back. You can hear me, hopefully. Yeah, you're good. Okay. So I want to read through these. I'm going to read through these real quick. We have 9 mentors. A couple of them are doing 2 channels if they're qualified. And I'm going to read through these. So Seth Studley, mentor of the Mental Health and Mindset channel. Seth is also the founder of Anatomy of Change podcast, which is dedicated to a movement, which is dedicated to exploring what it takes to achieve true success. He is a father, therapist, entrepreneur, high-performance coach, and partner with M42 Adventures. His podcast, Anatomy of Us, has been downloaded millions of times in over 85 countries. Again, I know Seth. I met him on a hunt a few years ago. Just a beautiful person. And he has been a mental health and mindset coach for dozens of years. I don't know how long exactly. Do you know how long, Chace?
I think he said 15.
15 years. He has been doing this as a full-time job, speaking around the world. So that is our mental health and mindset channel. This is somebody who obviously charges premium for his abilities and his educating people. And inside the Genesis, these people are all donating their time for free because they see the value and they want to help people genuinely. So they come in and Seth does a Zoom call once a month for an hour. You can be on that call. It is free. It is interactive. You can ask him questions. You can raise your hand. You can, he'll have his topic and you can go into that. I love them. I look forward to those. Again, this was selfish. When I started M42 and the Genesis, it was because I wanted to go on adventures. I wanted to learn from amazing people, and I am. And it has changed my life. I promise you. So I promise that some of the things that I've learned from Seth and these other people, I am applying with my own kids and wife daily, weekly, and it is making my relationships better. I promise that. It is making my mental health better. So that's Seth Studley. I'm going to do you last, Chace. I'm going to have you say a few words. I know you're working on your audio still. Damian Plotz, the mentor of the Motorcycle Channel. He is a Christian, husband, dad of 3 boys, retired professional motocross racer. Gotcha.
Did you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
So Damian Plotz, the mentor of the Motorcycle Channel. He is a Christian, husband, dad of 3 boys, retired professional motocross racer, and an entrepreneur. Attributes he lives by are healthy, spiritual connection, lifelong learner, goal-oriented, always seeking the next adventure, and building lifelong friendships. Again, this is an ex-professional motocross rider. We actually ran into Travis Pastrana at SHOT Show a few weeks ago, me and Chace.
Yeah.
And Chace asked Travis Pastrana, says, hey, we got a mentor. His name's Damian Plotz. And he's like, oh, dude, I love Damian. I grew up watching him. They've actually, had a lot of interactions together, talking to Damian. Travis was one of the first guys who, what did he say, hugged him after a race or something?
Yeah.
Came
it
up
was
and
when he actually won a nationals race.
Yeah. So Damian's the real deal, just a good dude. And he is teaching us all about motorcycles. And we are looking at doing some cool events with him in the future with motorcycles as well. Myself, so I'm the mentor of the Finance and the Travel Channel, the principal founder of M42 Adventures, a movement dedicated to building a community of friends and taking those men and women on outdoor immersive experiences around the globe. He is also a serial entrepreneur, real estate investor, full-time world traveler, and through his investment and business acumen, fully retired at age 36. Again, I feel qualified 100% to teach this. I may not be the richest guy in the room, but I understand the fundamentals of money, how to get out of debt. I went from being, extremely in debt, homeless, to able to retire at age 36, and through real estate and businesses mainly. And then I've been traveling for the last 8 years to 71 countries. So inside of this, and this is where people don't understand. It's like, it's not just about, I'm financially coaching people inside the Genesis now for free. Again, I want to make sure that's very clear. And some of them I'm helping get out of debt. I'm helping them, turn their lives around. Some of them I'm helping make their businesses better. I'm helping them increase sales. I'm helping one guy sell his company. And how to sell it. Had a guy call me this morning, Corey called me this morning and said, hey man, this is what I'm thinking of doing. I want to sell my business. This is a different one. The other guy I helped is in the process of selling his business. It was about a year ago that I helped him go through the process. But a new one this morning called me this morning and says, hey man, I just have some questions. Can you help me out? We talked for about 35 minutes. And he's like, dude, thank you so much. I says, let me know if you need anything else. He says, I'm sure I will. I'll be in touch. So finances can be, I've owned 9 Airbnbs. I started doing it 12, 13 years ago, before all the big influencers and stuff like that.
Luckily.
It wasn't even a thing.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been doing it a long time. I got to 8 of them, completely paid off, no debt. I've got a large property out here in Utah now as well. So there's lots of different ways that I can, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I have to tell you, we had Renz on the other day, remember?
Yep.
We had him on a Zoom call. So, again, I want you to remember that all these Zoom calls that we do, everybody has to do 1 hour. So this Friday, I'm doing a finance Zoom and a travel Zoom, 1 hour each, roughly 30 to 60 minutes. And they're recorded. So you can go back now, and we're recording 12 hours of information on these subjects every month
Yeah.
and growing.
We almost have as many hours of Zoom calls as we do podcasts.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's wild. 50 something there.
Yeah, roughly.
So you can go back and watch now. If you're coming in late, there's 4 or 5 hours of finance Zooms that you can go watch. And the one we had last week was really good. It was a really good one. I didn't plan on it, but we had a gentleman by the name of Renz, who I've been financially coaching as a friend for a long time, 7 or 8 years. What did he say? I can't remember what he said.
I don't know how long it was. But
our plan was like 15 years, and I think he did it in 7 or 8. So, I mean, it's been, say 8 or 10 years of me coaching him and helping him and just giving him advice. And what he said was unique about me is that I'm able to see lots of things different ways.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of put it together. So you may have a situation where you just haven't, again, talking to another person that I was coaching inside the Genesis, he came to me with like these 3 ideas, and I kind of twisted them and put them together a different way, and he's running with it.
Yep.
I talked to him last night. He texted me and said, dude, I'm on the path. And it was just something, he had the ingredients.
Yeah.
He just didn't know how to put them in the bowl to make the cake.
Yeah, it's like you got to follow certain, you have to follow a procedure in order to be successful.
Yeah, and it was just something he'd never thought of. He actually had some land near his house where he could go and build a 4-plex on, and just hadn't thought of it.
There you go.
He was going to sell the land and make a quick buck. I'm like, dude, if you
Passive
got the
income.
land paid off, I'd do this. And he's like, whoa, that's, and that's what I would do. And he just had never thought of that.
Yeah.
And so I think he maybe had maybe the concept, but just me kind of putting it together for him and letting him know. So again, all right. So next one is Sensei Teague Vanderbeek, mentor of the Self-Defense Channel, a 2nd degree black belt in Shaolin Kempo Karate. He is the owner and head instructor of Achieve Martial Arts in Utah. With over 20 years of martial arts experience and 7 years as a full-time instructor, he specializes in adapting instruction for students of all ages and ability, including special needs. Alongside Shiloh Kempo, he has extensive training in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Muay Thai. Known for his creative teaching methods, Sensei Teague is committed to building students' confidence, discipline, and practical self-defense skills through programs and camps tailored to diverse interests. So again, I have friends who, go to jiu-jitsu and they roll around and they, take some boxing classes. This is a gentleman who is a professional. That's what we are looking for. These type of people who are certified professionals in their field. Dan Peterson, our relationships and family mentor. The 4 pillars we were very picky on. We're actually still looking for our fitness one. I've got a gentleman in mind. I'm supposed to talk to him tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping we'll have that one buttoned up, and he's a powerhouse. He's a stud. I'm hoping we can get him. But again, we were very, very picky on these ones for our 4 pillars. Dan Peterson, relationships and family mentor, is a licensed clinical professional counselor, the founder of the Compass for Life, and an advanced trainer in the Nurtured Heart approach. With a master's degree in clinical psychology from Benedictine University, Dan specializes in helping adults who work with or have challenging children, providing strategies to foster success both at school and at home. Personally trained by NHA founder Howard Glasser, Dan is considered the local expert in the Naperville School District, and is passionate about coaching parents and teachers to create environments where children can truly thrive. Through his work, Dan bridges the gap between home and school, offering services like parent coaching, specialized small groups, school consulting, and individual counseling. His vision to empower families and educators with the tools to unlock each child's potential, all while cultivating a positive, nurturing approach that encourages growth and success. Dan's ultimate goal is to equip children with an internal compass for life, fostering their greatness and resilience. Again, he's done 2, I think, Zooms maybe?
Yeah, now. But
and
he's been
powerful, man.
He's been in his profession for 30 years.
That's what I mean. 30 years. Dan's been doing this for 30 years. He's actually over in my wife's community, Revitalized Womanhood right now, for the month of March, teaching those women.
Nice.
And he did his first call.
The podcast, right? Or
It's a Zoom.
Okay.
She set up a program with him. So 4
cool.
Zooms once a week. Something they came up with. And Gina said her women called her after the Zoom and said,
no, he's amazing.
It's, and it's been very helpful for me with my children. I've got 4 children, and again, just an absolute stud. So you can come in, you can listen to Dan once a month. And then if you want to go deeper, you can have that conversation.
I don't even have kids, and I still listen to him and
Well,
ask
that's
him
what Woody
questions.
said.
And I'm like, the information is
it applies to your wife. It applies to your employees. That's what Woody.
Just how you treat people in general. Like,
100%.
Just how you interact.
100%.
So it's awesome.
100%. Okay, so Dana Bouchard taking on one of the most popular outdoor activities in the world as the hiking mentor. Dana is an adventurer at heart, navigating rugged trails and life's challenges with purpose and passion. A wife, mother, and business owner, she finds inspiration in the peaks she climbs and the growth they symbolize. Fueled by a deep desire to make a difference, Dana dedicated herself to building community. As a barber, serving on the board for the nonprofit charity Eternal Hope International, which empowers impoverished communities in Nepal through education and job skills training. Her journey is one of exploration, personal growth, and giving back, proving that the smallest actions for good can spark change far beyond the trail. And she's absolutely amazing. She's actually doing another fundraiser. You can go, again, one thing I want to say is every single one of these people, besides the next two, because they're brand new, but Seth Studley, Chace Seegmiller, we did one together. We did one with Jeff.
Which?
A podcast.
Yeah.
So we need to do another one.
Okay.
On you. But did we do one on you?
We did one on the firearms.
Okay.
Just me and Jeff were both in the studio for the cooking one.
For the cooking one.
Yeah.
So Seth, Chace, Damien, Teague, Dan, Dana have all been on the podcast. So you can go find their episodes. But Dana, she raised like $30,000 in a few months.
For the 29029, which was them. Didn't she say she had to go up? I forget how many times.
Like 13 summits,
Snow Basin. Yeah.
13 summits or something like that.
To get to the 30,000 feet. That is just crazy.
Unbelievable. And raised money. They were able to build a school for education, for learning skills.
Job skills.
And she was able to go over there, and they had like a little parade and everything and stuff like that, because she is absolutely like directly changing lives. And she's doing it again this year.
Yep,
so she's,
Circuits and Summits.
Yep. So she's actually
and that's on Insta now.
Okay.
Circuits
Oh,
and
is
Summits.
it?
Yeah,
okay,
I saw the link to it.
Awesome. So Circuits and Summits, she's trying to raise, I think she's doubled her goal. And she did 19 miles the other day.
Yeah.
On a Sunday.
Honestly, just
in the mountains, not even on a road.
Yeah.
You know, she's out in the mountains, did 19 miles, and she's doing that once a month.
Yeah, I think she's doing it. Well, she's doing the circuits. She runs nonstop. I think she's running every week.
Is it every week?
Yeah.
So she's got this list of things she's doing. But anyway, absolutely amazing person. Again, so happy to have her here. And that's the kind of people that we're looking for. Again, so now we have Kirk Waldron. This is my brother-in-law, who again was, unaware of kind of what we were doing here. Once I told him what we were doing, he's like, dude, I want to be involved. He's a Fitness Channel co-host. He's not the main host. He's going to be a co-host. Kirk is a dedicated family nurse practitioner with over 12 years of experience in the medical field. He co-owns 2 medical clinics here in Utah, specializing in sports medicine, hormone therapy, mental health, and medical weight loss. Additionally, he serves as the co-medical director of a clinic focused on supporting addiction patients. With a commitment to service, Kirk is also an Army National Guardsman with 17 years of experience trained in human and signal intelligence, and currently provides military medical support. His diverse expertise and passion for health empower him to help others on their journey to self-improvement. So this is just the co-host, guys. This isn't, he is a bad A.
Yeah. He's a tough looking dude too.
He is. He's a good person. And that's the other thing, it's like these people have to have the time, they have to have the desire, and they have to have the values. If they don't have those, we won't even continue the conversation. Right. There's lots of people who have the time and the knowledge, but they're not nice people.
Yeah.
And they're not a fit.
Yeah. And sometimes, people think they have the time and then they don't have the time.
100%.
It's like you got to see if you can fit it in.
100%. And so Kirk is all of those things. He's an amazing person, an amazing dad and father and husband. Just a good dude, somebody who I would want to, break bread with or share a campfire with. And that's who these people are. So we've been very picky, and we're glad to have him on board. The next one is Sean Hoffmaster. He is our spirituality channel co-host. So he's with Seth, and he's a
Well, I actually ended up giving him his own channel.
Oh, good.
Because
Okay.
Seth, he kind of like remapped his, and I'm like, I feel like these are broad enough things that they, I just brought the
I love
spirituality
it.
channel
Yeah.
back.
So Seth is mental health.
Yep.
Okay. So
And
Seth,
mindset. That's what it says.
mental health and mindset, and Sean is spirituality. I love it. So this is Sean, specializing in the spiritual aspects of that channel, providing a sharp focus in Christianity. Sean Hoffmaster grew up in a religious church environment, but sought a deeper understanding of God's nature. After giving his life to Christ in 1997, he began leading worship and teaching youth about God's love. In his early 20s, he was mentored by a Messianic Jew, which challenged him to share the gospel through his actions. A pivotal moment came in 2001 during the fall of the World Trade Center. Following a mission trip to Huck, Arizona, Sean felt called to youth ministry in Mifflinburg, where he spent the next decade leading camps and events. In 2006, Sean married Elizabeth, raised 4 children, and pursued a BA in Arts and Biblical Studies. In 2021, he moved his family to York, Pennsylvania, where he served as a youth pastor and later as a pastor of outreach and evangelism. Today, Sean serves a community of 80, leading prayer, Bible studies, worship, and counseling. He's host of the Spirituality Channel. I think that's supposed to be as host of the Spirituality Channel. Sean focuses on the spiritual side of healing, helping others grow in faith and strengthen their relationship with God. So I actually missed his first call. Again, I'm going to go back and watch it recorded, which is the beauty of it.
It just went up yesterday.
Gina said it was amazing.
Yep.
She said it was great.
It was really good.
She said, some people chimed in.
Lots of input.
And, I'm not a real religious person.
Right.
If you've listened to my podcast, I would say I'm spiritual. I'd say, I believe in everything, that I just don't go inside the buildings and, things like that. But I want to explore it. I want to learn. I want my kids to have a compass. If you don't have those values, you're kind of drifting. And so I'm excited for this one. I'm excited, and I'm glad Sean's on board. He actually reached out to us, which is really cool. We're starting to get to where, people are noticing us.
And him and, he reached out to Damien, but Damien and him were like childhood friends.
Oh, cool.
Or like,
I didn't know that.
Around like middle school, high school.
Oh, cool.
Era,
Good.
So like they grew up together.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. He just sent us a message, I guess, again, through Damien, which is amazing. And we're excited to have him on board. And again, we're still looking for mentors in fitness, archery, ATV, UTV, bicycling, camping, equestrian, fishing, golf, kayaking and paddleboarding, mountain climbing, rafting, running, scuba diving, self-improvement, skiing, surfing, and some others. So if you know of anybody, DM us, send us a message. If you would like to be one of these people, we are changing lives. This is directly changing people's lives, and what better thing in life than that? So those are our mentors. Again, I want you guys to understand, I wanted you to know who we have and what they're doing and who they are, and then understand that they're donating their time. To be honest, a few of them have said, I'm like, why are you here? And they're like, 1, I want to help people. It'd be amazing. And 2, they want to go on adventures. They want a community. Yep. They want people. Me and Damien text all the time, we're building. I've never met him. He reached out to me in the very beginning. And it just shows you how healthy it is to have friendships with people who are like-minded, who want to get outside and explore this beautiful world and all the things in it. So, you.
Oh, yeah.
I skipped you.
Okay.
So, Chace, I'm going to read yours. I've got Chace in the studio. Chace, I met Chace at you were cooking at an event.
Yep.
For Ryan Mickler. And I went up and talked to you and said, hey, man, do you know anything about outdoor cooking? That's something we're doing. And you're like, yeah, I do, which was crazy because you specifically did.
Yeah, no, that's almost exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I says, well, hey, let's talk more. And then I was supposed to reach out to you, didn't.
Right.
You followed up with me, which I'm grateful you did. And rest is history, as they say, right? So Chace Seegmiller, the founder of Top Shot. So Chace is the firearm instructor and the outdoor cooking adventure chef, we'll say. And he is qualified in both. Again, this isn't like Chace likes to cook outside and he shoots guns on the weekend. He has a academy for firearms, and he has been a chef, and we'll get into that a little bit more through your words. But Chace Seegmiller, the founder of Top Shot Dixie Academy, where he serves as range master and firearms instructor, specializing in personal protection and practical skills. Stop. So that's the firearm. We've had, 3 or 4 firearm classes here in Southern Utah.
I think we're running our 4th.
We're going on our 4th this Saturday. This one's going to be our AR-15s. And this is what's cool about our mentors. So Chace is certified. What are your certifications in firearm?
So I'm expert qualification, and I'm trained in all of the platforms that NRA provides in pistol. So like when it comes down to your basic pistol, you have your personal protection inside the house, personal protection outside the house, your CCW, so your concealed carry, weapon permits, things like that. In Utah, they call it CFP, concealed firearm permit, but you have to have all those different qualifications in order to, teach certain kinds of things. Like when we do the defensive pistol course, that's something that I was trained in specifically, is defensive pistol. And so when you go through all those qualifications, it gives you, the ability to be able to teach. But then after you get that information, you kind of have to develop your own brand of taking that information and turning it into something that you feel will best be for, benefiting people. So it took a couple of years, to go through all that aspect. I grew up shooting. I mean, I grew up in Southern Utah. I'm 5th generation.
You work at the ranges too, right?
Yeah. So Red Cliffs Rifle and Pistol Range.
What are you there?
I am a chief range safety officer, assistant range master, and the special events coordinator. So I handle all of the events for the range. Anybody who wants to do anything there that has to do with instruction or special events has to contact me.
Which is good for us.
Yeah. And so it makes it so I just schedule my own events.
Yeah.
So for M42, we just jump in. And then
So that's, I want to, what's our time at? Did it reset when you?
It did reset. So I don't know what it was at.
What's it at now?
It's at 24 minutes right now.
I just don't want to go too long, but I don't know what that was. So, but I want people to know that, one, you're highly qualified. I've been to all of 3 of your classes with my family.
Right.
I brought my boys out and they love it. And we've learned, I've gotten so much better at my firearm. I've had guns and pistols and my whole life.
Right.
But I don't go out to the range. And it's kind of one of those things where, like when I started golfing, I just went and bought clubs and went golfing. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can do this. And you can. Yeah. You can grab a club, most people, and hit a ball. Yeah. But I did it for like a few years. And then my buddy was like, dude, if you had some instruction, if you had the fundamentals, you'd be so much better. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm just hitting a ball around. I'm not going to be a professional. And he's like, I know, but if you just went and got a few classes, it'd change your game. Right. And it's the same with firearms. Same with all of this stuff. Yeah. The way I look at mentors is cheat codes. Mm-hmm. Totally. I can go spend, which I have. I've spent 3 sessions, or 3 to 4 hours each. So 9 to 12 hours with you at the range with my concealed carry that I want to learn how to shoot. Mm-hmm. We do supply the guns and everything for people, but I brought my own, which you allow. Yeah. And I feel I've carried that thing around. I've had my concealed carry permit for like 4 years. Yeah. It was actually a different gun, which you told me was not a good gun for me because my hands are huge, which again is a good lesson. Yeah. It's like I'm packing this gun thinking the smaller the better because I can conceal it. And you're like, well, not if you can't hold it and shoot. Right. That's like pretty important.
Wrap your finger around the muzzle and pull the trigger.
Yeah. And so you got me a different gun, which I bought from you. Right. And it's amazing. It's an awesome gun. I feel way more confident. Yeah, you shot with it
the last
I'm a
course.
Killer. Yeah. I'm a killer, dude.
Super on target.
And I know my methods aren't, exactly good, but you're working on me. Yeah. But I want people to know that's, it's like you may think you have it, but if you come out with a professional and they can give you some tweaks and skills, it makes all the difference in the world. And then I wanted to touch on that we're doing an AR-15 class this Saturday. You're not certified in that. Right. But you are in this industry. You know a guy who is. He's bringing out all the guns, right? We provide everything. It's AR-15s. And that's the difference here. It's like Damien, he said, I specialize in dirt bikes. Yeah. But he's got connections to people in street bikes and trail bikes and, and so that's what's cool. When you live this life, it would take me literally 9 lifetimes to learn what our 9 mentors know. Oh yeah. It's like, that's what it would take. Mm-hmm. And I don't have that time. And so I can go out with you and learn it. 90% of it, the fundamentals in a few days.
Well, and you take all the the trial and error out of the process. I mean, obviously you're still going to have whatever ones you have with, but they've literally went through all that. So all the little things that you don't need to know or you don't need to go through, you just kind of jump past those.
Well, and saving money. I mean, that's
huge.
That's
time
huge.
and money.
I mean, it's like I can tell you what luggage to take, on a trip or how to book flights because I've done it hundreds of times. Damien can say, buy these goggles.
Yeah.
I've worn 30 different types of goggles. These are the best. And he can tell you why and explain it to you. And you can save on buying 29 other sets of goggles, boots, gloves, and so I was actually having a conversation with my dad the other day, and he was talking about my brother who's picked up reading recently.
Yeah.
Starting to.
And we've had a conversation about that before, which is funny.
Yeah. And so he was saying how my brother's starting, he's 50 years old and starting to read books. And my dad says he's starting to get it, he's starting to get it. He's starting to read and educate. And I says, Dad, I think that's almost antiquated. And that's kind of where I'm at, where 100% listen to podcasts, 100% read books. I listen. Those are good, but I think where you really get the results that I want now is, I use this analogy with you. My dad's a lion hunter. And I says, Dad, how long do you think it would take for me to go and, if you didn't give me any help, if you said, go read a book or listen to a podcast, and you said, go catch a lion with a hound dog, how long do you think it would take me from start to finish? And he's like, years. I don't even know. He's he says, I don't even know how to say that. And I says, if I came with you, how long could you teach me to catch a lion? And he says, probably a week or two. You look at that gap.
It's huge.
Years to a week. And I says, what do you mean? And he says, well, first of all, you don't know what dog to get. You'd have to go read what dog hunts a lion. Then you'd have to say, where do I get that dog? Who do I find? He says, I can drive you right now to a guy who has a batch of puppies that I know about that are amazing lion dogs. He says, I know people who have lion dogs and 9 out of 10 of them aren't even good lion dogs.
Right.
He says, I can take you to the best breed and dog and we can get a puppy today. We can go buy a puppy today.
Yeah.
That would take me, I don't even know, months and months.
You look at buying the wrong dog and then training it.
And then he says, and then I can tell you what food to use, what collars to buy. These collars, you lose. I mean, he said it's just, and so that's where I've kind of had this aha moment. We all listen to podcasts, we all read books, but what is different about M42 Adventures and the Genesis is mentors. Yeah. These are people that you can interact with, that you can talk to. You had a girl come down the other day that you cleaned her gun.
Yeah, well, no, she said it wasn't operating, and she's actually the housekeeper for Outpost X.
Yeah.
So when we went up there, I met with her, and she kind of like just went through and said that her gun wasn't working. So she drove down from Burl.
Imagine if you would have told her over the phone how to clean her gun. You could have, and it would have taken, an hour or two.
Yeah.
And she would have done an okay job. She drove down. She gave you the gun. You cleaned it for her.
I did it like right there in front of her.
Perfectly in probably 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And said, here's your gun back. And that is the difference between a live mentor that you can reach and somebody that's on a podcast or a book that you can never chat with.
And she went from a gun that she was carrying that didn't work to it working perfectly
and
every
she
single
said
time.
She was scared. Remember, she travels in her van.
Exactly.
She said she was in New York or New Jersey and was scared one night
York,
because she had this gun that was a paperweight and somebody's banging on the door. And so now you've made this woman feel more secure, safer, and that is what we're doing. That is literally changing lives.
And that was completely free.
I know,
we just had her come down.
And that was amazing.
Whatever.
Yeah, and that was, again, just something that is because you get the mission. M42 is paying you.
I just want to help people too. I mean, that was like a day off.
Right. Yeah. So, and then I want to get on this one. With 23 years of culinary experience and an adventure chef. That's hard to say, Chace.
Say it 3 times fast.
Yeah. Chace embodies the spirit of a 5th-generation Southern Utah native and wild wanderer, embracing a life of adventure in nature, passionate about fostering a self-sufficient, adaptable, and vigilant community. He aims to empower individuals to strengthen the world more about them. I'm going to critique this a little because I haven't read this. I want you to put what your training is in this. Where is your training? You went to
So I went to Le Cordon Bleu. I'm traditionally French trained, so with the fanciest cuisine that you can think of. Obviously, I grew up outdoors.
Went to school for that.
Yeah.
Paid lots of money. You
Yeah.
told me the tuition.
Yeah.
Went to school, and then you worked at,
Ski
all over the country.
resorts, yeah, ski resorts,
High
different
end.
restaurants. Just traveled all over. I would work at ski resorts during the winter and cook there, and then I would go make money another way during the summer, and then just keep on doing that. And I just traveled all over to learn different skills. I ended up going down to Peru in 2011 to Lima and stuff, and just kind of diving into the cuisine. I've always wanted to learn more about like the type of foods that come fresh.
We need to get you to Africa.
Yeah, exactly.
And
that's the exciting part for me. I mean,
yeah.
I want to hunt.
I tried to get you and Jeff to come. I wish you would have.
Yeah, that would have been good. It's the busiest time of year in September for that gig.
So you were actually working for a company as an outdoor chef.
Mm-hmm.
Came on here, and you're the CEO. You're basically going to be. I'm leaving Saturday.
Right.
You're going to run M42 Adventures.
Mm-hmm.
Keep pushing our mission forward. I'm going to be continuing to do podcasts and things like that. But you're going to be doing the firearm and the cooking is on the side. That's donated time.
Yep.
And so that's our mentors. That's the people who we have on board so far. We're looking for more. Again, we're having, the Genesis is about 4 or 5 months old. We have 140 members, something like that.
I think it was a little bit more than that.
Was it? I think it's right around there.
Yeah.
So we have about 140 members. Again, I want to read a few things that I have written down here, and then we'll kind of wrap up.
141.
So I wanted to read this quote that I heard on the Instagram yesterday, and it says, "The purpose of knowledge is action, not knowledge." Aristotle. And that's what, I think the biggest thing that you actually had some questions here, Chace. I'm not going to get to them necessarily. But you had a question in here that said, let's see if I can find it real quick. What specific skills or hobbies do you believe that have the most transformative power for individuals seeking adventure?
I like that question.
Mine for that is action.
Yeah.
Like specific skills or hobbies do you believe have the most transformative power? Action.
Yeah.
So many people. I had a gentleman in here a few months ago that says, "Hey, Rick, you've inspired me." And I says, "Really? How?" And he says, "I've read 300 books in the last couple of years." And I'm
300?
like, "Yeah."
Wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, "What have you done with them?" And he's like, "I read them." And I'm like, "What?"
What'd you do with the information?
Are you traveling? Are you richer? Are you cooking more? Are you golfing more? Like, what were the books,
Mm-hmm.
And he's and he hasn't done a lot. And I'm not trying to rag on him. There is I'm very proud of him for reading the books. That's a start.
Oh yeah.
But in this quote, the purpose of knowledge is action, not knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't take the knowledge and act, it's pointless.
Mm-hmm.
So I really wanted to get to that. I wanted to read that. The Genesis and M42 Adventures is here to get people outside, get them on adventures. We have a lot more coming up. This year we've got Costa Rica, Alaska, Hawaii, Africa, Utah, all sold out basically. And but that's where the rubber meets the road, is on M42 Adventures. But then inside the Genesis is where you can come in. You get first right of refusal to all of those new experiences. We have 1 day, 3 day, 7 day experiences all over the world. You get first crack at that. But you got to take action. I had this other one I want to read real quick too. I think these are important. It says, "Success isn't exciting. It's boring, repetitive, and uncomfortable. That's why most people will never have it."
That's a good one.
Yeah. These were both Kip Sorensen's. He posted both of these. I just went to Kip's retreat a week ago or 2 weeks ago, and he's an absolute stud. If you don't know Kip Sorensen, you should go follow him. But it says, "Success isn't exciting. It's boring, repetitive, and uncomfortable. That's why most people will never have it." And that is, I hear so many times that people want to change their lives. They want more money. They want to be in better shape. They want to have better relationships. They want, have better mental health. They want to learn self-defense. They want to, learn how to ride a dirt bike. You have to sign up and you have to go out and do it. You have to take action. You know, we have 141 people in our community. I challenge every one of you to do it, to engage, to say yes to, you know, kind of our motto is don't be a spectator, right? Live the adventure. And I want to encourage people to do that. I have a thing here I want to read, and most of you maybe have heard this, but it's called The Man in the Arena. I read it on a Zoom call the other day. But it says, it is not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles or what the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. And so that's, if I could sum up the Genesis and M42 Adventures, it is to get people to get outside and to get online, get in this community, talk, engage, watch the Zooms, take action, take action, take action, go on the trips. It will change your life. I guarantee if you do the things that we are all saying, all of the mentors in this community, the things we are saying are learn self-defense, learn how to use a gun, learn how to camp, learn how to ride a motorcycle or get better at riding a motorcycle, go hiking, you know, work on your mental health, work on your fitness, get more spiritual. But you have to do it. Nobody can do it for you. The world does not care what you're going through. You have to pick yourself up. You have to find a reason, a purpose, whether it's your wife, your kids, yourself, whatever it may be, and make your life better. I just had a podcast that I did with a gentleman who was suicidal. Mm-hmm. And he said he didn't know what else to do, but he heard from a friend, and his friend said, change your environment. So he packed up from New Jersey and went to Afghanistan.
Yeah. What a different, I mean, you know, I mean,
that's a big one.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big one, but he said it saved his life.
Yeah.
You know, and so take action. If it's not with us, if it's not with our community, find somebody, find your people, go to the gym, go for a walk, join a group, join a club, relationships, humans that are trying to build you up, not tear you down, and new skills will change your life. And then try to get your finances, your fitness, you know, your mental health, all those things in order. And if you're struggling, we're here to help. We're here to help, and it's free. Again, one thing I want you to know is we do giveaways in here all the time in the Genesis. If you are a member, we've given away cutting boards. We've given away Montana knives, a couple of those. We've given away hats and shirts. We're giving away gift cards. We actually have a really big one that when we hit 250 members, so 110 more, we're going to give away an adventure, which is 2 nights at Elevation 40 Zion. If you want to go on Instagram, it's called Elevation 40 Zion. And we're going to give away 2 nights there. You're going to meet up with me, Chace, a couple of the other mentors, and we're going to ride UTVs. We're going to shoot some guns. We're going to, you know, cook on an open fire. We're going to hike. We're going to have some good, deep conversations on, you know, mental health, whatever you want to talk about. You know, we're just... And I know Hans talked about this too, where, you know, you break bread with somebody, you share a campfire with somebody, and it's a lot different. And that's where the Genesis is very important, and that's where we kind of get, you know, together. But then M42 and the Adventures is where the rubber meets the road. Mm-hmm. You have to have those 2 ingredients, I believe, to be healthy. Mm. You know, if you're on a computer all day and you're just learning, that's fine. That's a start. But let's go out there and let's ride a horse together. Mm-hmm. Let's hit a golf club together. Let's go on a hike together.
Well, I think one of the great things about the Genesis too is the fact that, like, you can find out what you don't like.
Oh, 100%.
Like, you know, get in conversations with people about things you might be interested in, and then you find out that that's not an interest.
Good point.
You know what I mean?
Good point. So there's 26 channels.
You get rid of that wonderment.
I don't like golf.
Yeah, see?
I don't.
like golf either.
I've tried it, and I've done it, a lot. We're looking at doing a golf experience in Scotland.
Yeah. I would do that.
Which I would do.
Yeah.
Again, that's for me is the adventure, the travel, the food, the people, golf is a distant 5th or 6th for me, but 100% would do that. But like you're saying, yeah, absolutely, get in there and there's 26 channels for a reason. You don't have to do them all. You don't have to, like them all. Pick yours and then go to that person and jump all in.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm just going to skip through a few of these real quick and wrap this up. So what inspired you to start M42 Adventures? I covered that. The 4 pillars I covered. How do I envision the role of the community in enhancing the experiences offered by M42? The community is everything. Mm-hmm. The community is where we come together, we cheer each other on, we build each other up, we talk about, what shoes to wear. I know Dana just posted this morning.
For hydration packs.
Yeah, what hydration pack to buy, and why. And so that's where you get all the information, and then you can go on the actual adventure. Let's see.
And just for instance, I'll talk about the Firearm channel. Like, just go on there. There's an actual part that says ranges and trainings. You just click on that. You can click on where to shoot, type in your zip code, and it'll tell you where all the ranges are in your area.
I love that.
So,
yeah.
it just makes
and I know
it
you're
easy.
working on one in Reno, right?
Yeah,
We're working on doing something out there.
Yeah, working with Bryce for, up there at Reno Gun.
But yeah, like this is the beautiful thing when you take money out of the equation, it makes it pure.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm not trying to control you. I'm not trying to get all your money. I'm trying to make your life better. We are trying to make your life better. So it's like, hey, if you can't come shoot at our range, there's a link on the Firearm channel to go find a range near you, and we'll help you get involved, and figure that out.
We can do little trainings over the Genesis, and then you can take it to the range by you.
Yep. This is what type of events can members expect in the future. We have a lot of ideas. Like I said, we're working on a Iceland mental health trip. So it would be with Seth Studley, where we go to Iceland and talk about, what better place is there than Iceland? I can't think of one where it's just pure natural beauty to kind of clear your mind, get away from the screens, and have deep conversations with Seth Studley. Again, these people are, just studs in their field, or why don't you say for a woman?
I mean, they've done, they've just done so much, in their respective fields. I mean, from Seth, he's done, he's speaking engagements all over the world, in his profession.
Yeah.
I mean, he's had several, he's had successful podcasts. I think he's going to start another one. He's
the real deal.
And
you get access to him for free,
Yeah.
and it's like unbelievable. It's just, there's nothing like it out there that I've seen. And so you just put, how can individuals who are skeptical about joining an adventure community be encouraged to take the first step? You know what? If you're not ready, don't.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at, honestly.
Right. It's like we've taken all of the blockages out of the way for you to get from here to here. You just got to make that step. But
yeah, I heard a lot of people say, if you don't charge, you're not going to get, people aren't going to appreciate it, which is just, I hope it's not true.
Right.
I know it's not for me and the ones that I do see engaged. Just because it's free doesn't mean the value's not there. I will put our community up against any other community out there.
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Call me, DM me, tell me a community and tell me why it's better than ours. Let's talk, because I will put it up against any community, and ours is free. And the reason we made it free is so that people can have a easy entry into it. So there's not a finance reason. Time, if you don't have a couple hours a month to go on and watch these videos and learn in the different channels that you want to learn in, then you just don't want it.
Yeah.
My first thing right there is the purpose of knowledge is action. The purpose of knowledge is action, not knowledge. If you know about the Genesis and you know that it's free and you know everything that I'm saying, and you aren't going to take action, then you're just not ready. There's something there, and I would just encourage you to take action.
Yeah.
Say yes. That's my motto. And I think, if you're in a rut, if you're broke or you're out of shape, what do you have to lose?
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing to me. It's like, what do you have to lose? I hear a lot of people say, I read that book, 300 pages, and I didn't get a lot out of it. And I'm like, well, how much did you get out of it? And they're like, 3 or 4 pages were really good. And I'm like, that's 3 or 4 pages. When I read a book, when I read 100 pages, I don't get 100 pages of just beautiful knowledge. I get little things that just tweak you 1%, 2%. And that's the key. But if you can change your life a little bit, pretty soon it's going to add up.
I'll use this as a reference to anything that has to do with reading, you know, and I only use it as this because most books that I read, I relatively understand. Okay. So when I read something, I'm like, okay, scripture, not like that.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, you know, sometimes I'll read a whole entire chapter and I'll be like, I don't
was the same
understand a
way.
single thing. But then sometimes I'll read other things and it'll just blow my mind
100%.
and it'll be like a life-changing thing. And so, you know, it's every once in a while. It's just the little things.
Yeah, what's the Bible? I don't even know, 1,500, 2,000 pages.
Yeah.
I don't even know what it is, but like you're saying, every page isn't going to change your life, but some scriptures will.
Yeah.
And another thing I tell people is, you know, I've read the same books 5 or 6 different times.
Yeah, and you learn new things every time.
And you learn new things, you know, you read a book about kids and you don't have kids, you can't connect. And then you have a child and you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I never realized that this is, you know, I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was broke with no kids. And I thought I'm going to change my life and be, you know, this dad.
Yeah.
And now I read it and I'm like, I need to train my kids. It's not even about me.
No.
I read the book as if I'm reading it for them.
Exactly.
So I would encourage people to take action. We hope to see you in there. Tell your friends, tell your family. Again, you can go to m42adventures.com. There's a link that says the Genesis. It's free. It's we have giveaways. If those aren't enough reason, honestly, then we have, you know, if the knowledge and the community and all these different things, then you're just not ready. You're not ready for that change. And, you know, like they always say, I can't get somebody else to stop smoking. I can't get somebody to stop drinking, right? They have to want to do that. But we are here. We are waiting for you. We hope to meet you. It's men and women, even youth, you know, we don't really have an age limit, but I guess we probably should. But
I try to make everything accessible to 12-year-olds and up.
Yeah. Like I brought my son, you know, to the firearm class. He's I think 11. But yeah, you know, it's like, this is a good, wholesome community. There's no bravado here. There's no, you know, it's not boot camp and let's go after it, which nothing against those. If that's what you're looking for, go get it. We wish you the best, whatever makes your life better. But this is one where we are sincerely trying to help people through our different disciplines. And we believe that if, you know, you talk to Dana, man, and she talks about hiking and her eyes light up and her, you know, it's her love and her passion. And to go on a hike with somebody like that is a difference. There's a difference. You know, she can tell you about the different, she's a guide in Zion. She can tell you about the park and the different, you know, it's
not a job.
It's not a job. These people are passionate about it, and there's a whole different thing there. So again, hopefully we'll see you in there. That's this Ask Me Anything, the Genesis and M42 Adventures. Hopefully you understand it a little bit better. Hopefully you will take action and sign up and come in there and join us. A community does not exist without people. There's 141 of us in there. We're not stopping. We're going to keep going. Chace has got the reins. I believe in him and I trust him, and he is a good dude. And we're going to do amazing things together. And again, M42 Adventures podcast. It's Friday. I hope you go out there. I hope you find an adventure, whatever it is. Get outside, breathe fresh air, shoot a gun, go for a hike, pitch a tent, do something. Get out there, throw a football with your kids, lay on the grass. You know, go out there and lay. I was out actually in my backyard a couple days ago, and I just laid down in the grass. And it was just nice.
People think I'm crazy when I'm like, I got to go home and ground. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I have to discharge all this nonsense.
And for me, it's just slowing down, you know? It's like, I don't know all the terms with grounding, but for me, it's like you lay on the grass and you look up at the blue sky, your mind goes to a different place than if you're standing.
Yeah.
You know, I'm looking up and I'm like, oh, that's a cute cloud. And then my 4-year-old comes out and lays down with me. What you doing, Dad? I'm like, I'm looking at the clouds. Why? Why not?
Yeah.
And then we start having conversations, and he's like, that one looks like a dragon, you know?
It's one of my favorites. Cloud, you know, just identifying clouds. You're like, what's that one look like to you?
Yeah, and it took 10 minutes, and it was just getting outside and spending time together with those that you love. So, again, if you want to follow me on my adventures, I leave Saturday. You can go to onelife.solive. I'm trying to change that to Rick Trimmer. I need your help, Chace.
Yeah, we need to do that.
To my name, but right now it's onelife.solive. You can go to my wife's page. She does a lot better job at it than I do, and it's revitalized womanhood or pure imperfection. Again, appreciate everybody listening. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on the next one.